Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the court, my name is Catherine Miller, and I'll be representing the petitioner in this case. The issue before the court today is whether my client's constitutional rights were violated. The petitioner respectfully requests that this court overturn the decision of the lower courts for the following reasons. But first, would the court like a brief recitation of the facts? The last few seconds probably sounded like lawyer gibberish, but to me, that's the opening that I use when I prepare to go in front of the Supreme Court of the United States. My name is Catherine Miller, and when I was in high school, I joined a prestigious club called Moot Court. This decision has been one of the most stressful, most hard work requiring things that I've done, but I'd say that it's the best thing that I've decided to do. It has been one of my favorite clubs, one of my favorite activities, and it's just been probably my favorite thing to do in high school. So most of you are probably wondering, what is Moot Court? So in my speech today, I'll explain what Moot Court is, how to write an argument for Moot Court, how to actually argue, and what the judges are going to present you. So first of all, what is Moot Court? Well, the American Moot Court Association says that Moot Court is a method of learning law and legal skills that requires students to analyze and argue both sides of a hypothetical legal issue. In English, that means that we take a simulated case and we break it down. We find the constitutional issues, and then we have to argue for one side or the other. Now, my teacher, Mr. Morris, takes this very seriously. We practice and practice many times a week. We take this to different courts around our area. We go to different practice rooms, and we go in front of lawyers, law students, judges. And when I was competing, I went in front of a justice of the Kentucky Supreme Court. So compared to that, my public speaking class is a walk in the park. I can still see many of the questions though. For instance, how on earth do you make an argument in Moot Court? Well, first of all, you're going to get a simulated case. This is a case that could go before the Supreme Court, but is not actually a real case, which is pretty lucky for us, since I would not want to go in front of these judges to argue it. So we're given a case, and we have to know the facts. By the end of the time where I read them and read them and read them, by the end, I know the facts of the case better than I know my own name. So once you know that, you're assigned a side, either the petitioner or the respondent. These two sides are on opposite ends of the legal argument. One of them wants you to make one decision, and the other wants the complete opposite. These are very different sides, but they have the same constitutional issues at hand. No matter which side you're assigned, though, it is an uphill battle. You have to read through the facts and decide what goes in your favor and what goes against you. So next in your process of making your argument, you can't just stop at knowing your case's facts. In fact, that's the easiest part. The next part is you have to learn all of the cases that are similar to yours. Tinker versus Des Moines, New Jersey versus TLO, U.S. versus Windsor, Frederick v. Morris. Those may sound like gibberish, but again, they are some of the most influential cases that the Supreme Court has ever had. Tinker versus Des Moines, in fact, came a long time ago during the Vietnam War, and it established free rights for speech for students. So whenever you walk into the school, you don't shed your constitutional rights, and that is because of Tinker. Tinker involved a student that challenged what the school said that they could not speak of in school, and so that established free rights. New Jersey versus TLO, it dealt with students' rights to not be searched, and it also meant that the school had a little bit of a leeway whenever they had evidence. So if they could prove that you were doing something, they could search you. Otherwise, though, they couldn't just pull you into a restroom and begin trying to see if you had anything contraband on you. Cases like these have defined the Supreme Court and defined how the students and people of this nation have their rights. So you have to know these cases, and you have to know how they apply to your case. If your case is similar or different, and whether or not you could consider these judgments on your behalf of the case. So once you've decided that, then it is time to go in front of the people you shall be arguing in front of. Like I said, I've been in front of many lawyers, law students, judges, and the Kentucky Supreme Court Justice. and it has been very, very stressful. However, last year I managed to win the internal competition that my school had, which was a very, very big honor on my part. So whenever you go in front to argue, there are a couple of things you have to remember. First of all, deference to the court. You have to remember to be respectful at all times of the justices and judges that are in front of you. If you are not respectful, that will lose you points. For example, when I started my opening, I said, "Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the court." I have to ask the court permission to do anything, permission to have a rebuttal, permission to answer questions. I have to say please and thank you, Your Honors, even if I don't feel like it. Which leads to the very last part of my speech. Why would I not feel like it? The judges can be difficult. They like to ask hypothetical questions, which are very hard to answer. They like to ask tough questions about minuscule details. They want to see what your side of the argument has to offer. And whenever they do this, it's not always pretty for you. They're going to ask whatever they feel like asking. They can interrupt at any point in your argument. It's more of a discussion with them, really. But you want to try in 15 minutes for us to get your point across. And the major parts of the case that you want argued, you have to get that across as well. I thank you for listening to me. I hope that you now know something more about the Supreme Court and about Moot Court than you knew before. And I encourage all of you, if you get the chance, try and join Moot Court. It is a very, very big honor, and it is very influential. Thank you.